Welcome back, and yes, you are still watching Unleashing Your Potential. We are talking about Africa. Are you an African enough, hey? So my question is to, now I understand the dilemma, right? And the next question, it will be then, how do we fix it? How do we fix this dilemma that we find ourselves in it?
You know, he touched on a very important point. We have auctioned who we are for a few shillings.
Auctioned.
That will give us, yeah, we've auctioned everything.
Nice.
We have auctioned our ability, because you cannot tell me that Africa's wisdom came after the arrival of colonials. Because if you go back in history, there was so much wealth. There were goldsmiths even before. You look at Mapumo. We've always done these things.
Yeah.
Because somebody came and stole from us, and we continue to auction those. Right now you have people who are talking about Marxism, communism, thisism and thatism. Where is us in the greater scheme of things?
Yeah.
Because if we need to move forward, we need then to revisit who we are and get a grasp of who we are. And it starts at school, it starts at home. Does my child go to a school where the school principal has a set desire that what I am doing here as a principal and as a teacher, I am going to produce children that not only their parents will be proud of, or the school will be proud of, the community will be proud of.
Yeah.
It goes back there. Because if the child embraces Eurocentricity at school, how then do you expect them to embrace being an African?
Yeah.
Because they see that as backward. The very fact that we cannot decode a computer using isiZulu, Swahili, Xitsonga, or Chivenda, something is fundamentally wrong with that. So what we need to do, we need a new crop of leaders who are no longer relying on history to tell us that I have this, because I have lost all respect for people with struggle credentials, because the continent has to move. Yes, we went through a struggle.
Yes.
There's a second struggle. The second struggle is, how do we make Africa so dependent on itself? You need a leader who says, we have so much people that need to be upskilled on a certain thing.
Yeah.
We have so much people who need to lead a particular project. We have so much, and we have these skilled people who can reconnect us to who we are. Because currently, we'll still be producing people who will go into bigger office, carry big guns, drive a multi-million rand bulletproof car. What are you scared of?
Yeah.
Because if you're a leader, you don't need a bulletproof car. Because your work will protect you.
I hear you.
That's what it's going to do.
Sure.
But we have leaders who sit right now. The very African Union had a project called Silencing the Guns. It was supposed to happen in 2021. And conveniently, they were blaming COVID. But some of the very leaders in this continent are sponsoring people who are terrorizing the continent.
You know, it's painful, really. It's a very painful thing. And I hope that something can be done, that we can be able to talk about these things. This is painful. You can't just have programs on pieces of paper, and we don't live off that. You know, we can't have projects and say these guys. We send these guys on taxpayers' money to what is that country? Ethiopia. Yeah. For the United African Union.
And go and shake hands.
To go and shake hands and look nice, take pictures with the who's and who's. For their Instagram, actually, but that's what they do. It's so sad that our leaders, actually, they enjoy taking pictures in the United Nations. Just for show that they were with who and who.
Exactly.
We need to fix this, because you talked about the disjoint, the disconnect that Africa is having. I've traveled a little bit around the continent, and there are many companies that are coming out of here, South Africa, that are going into African countries. And many of those companies, if not all of them, are not owned by melanated people. No. They're not. And I'm not against any other race.
Sure.
I'm just concerned about mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that I would want to see black South Africa owning companies in Zambia. Sure. Owning companies in Congo. Owning companies and doing business on the continent without worrying about where you come from. The pie is big for all of us. It's very big. Yeah. That's why the Chinese are coming. They are clamoring for this continent. The people in Europe, everyone wants a piece of Africa except the Africans themselves.
Why is that though?
And
It's a sickness.
They're even sponsoring coups
Yes.
in this continent so that they can access the very wealth that he's talking about. But the problem with Africa is that we lack people with the testicular fortitude to say, it ends here, we're not going to beg anybody, because that which keeps them alive. Just Japan does not have, what minerals does it have? But look at how wealthy it is. France, what minerals do they have? In Africa, mention any mineral, we have it. But we still have kids that go to bed hungry because we have leaders, I repeat, who lack the testicular fortitude to challenge those people who are coming out and saying, we are going to do it ourselves because we have an original blueprint which we've put aside. And we adopted Marxism and communism, capitalism, socialism, whatever ism, that has not given Africa a solution.
But where did we go wrong? Like, I understand
we walked away from who we are. We lost who we are. We left who we are. Some of the problems we are having as Africans, they are so un-African. They are just un-African. It's not natural to who we are. It is not who we are as a people. And so we have moved away from principles of the kujichagulia. You talk about self-determination. We need to be proud as a people and determine who we are, to speak for ourselves and determine our future, determine where we are going, to be able to create for ourselves. And when you talk about creating for ourselves, I think we have also limited ourselves a lot in that regard, where we have a situation where, let me talk about the Sutu attire, for example. I'm just using that as an example. I love the fabric, shishwesu. Very nice fabric. But what do? It's like we just tailor-make it only for the people from that tribe. And so we are not making it in such a way that a person from Singapore would be lured to buy it as well. They don't see the need. Because we have tailored everything we do only for the people from our tribe. We must put ourselves on the global stage and begin to sell Africa to the rest of the world. But as it is right now, I just feel uncomfortable to even call some of these guys our leaders. The people we call our leaders are there actually just to get what they can get for themselves. And at the end of the day, it's about empowering themselves financially. That's all.
That's so sad.
The nation matters not. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Because if Africa mattered, they also have another beautiful document that I read, Vision 63, with something that must be achieved in the next 50 years. They have failed to achieve one thing since 2012, when that vision was created. The very fact that in this country, something that also gives me sleepless night, that shows you that we don't have leaders. We have Operation Dudula. When I look at a person who looks like me, I am filled with hatred. I want to kick them up. They are taking my jobs. What job are they taking?
What is that?
What job have you created? The very fact that you still need to kill your African brother, your African sister, for a job that is given by some Eurocentric chap. That tells you that there is work to be done.
Crisis.
We need a leader who will look at Operation Tutula and see it for what it is, a project to divert our attention from the real problems that we are facing. We need a young leadership that will be taught in African values, because also that which we teach them makes them connect to France. There's Francophone, there's Anglophone, all that kind of nonsense. But we are Africans. So even in terms of getting people to understand leadership, let us revisit our own values so that it does not, the continent does not continue to be auctioned. The continent does not continue to have Operation Tutula, where we are fighting for crumbs of bread, and the person who's throwing the crumbs of the bread on the ground is happy sitting there, looking at us, chasing each other with machetes, raiding each other's little shops.
Wow, it's really hectic here in the studio. We are still talking about African leadership, right? And yeah, we will hear more from them after the break.